What if I told you that the most successful people you know, the ones who seem to accomplish extraordinary things with almost effortless grace, aren't the ones working the hardest? What if, instead, they are the ones working the smartest? Now, let's take that a step further. What if that feeling you have, that thing you've always labeled as laziness, as a weakness at all? What if your laziness is actually your greatest, most untapped strength? It sounds like a paradox, but stick with me because I'm going to show you why it's the simple truth. This isn't about being a couch potato. This is about strategic laziness. Strategic laziness isn't about doing nothing. It's about channeling your finite, precious energy only toward the things that truly matter. The ambitious but lazy individual doesn't shy away from work. They instinctively, ruthlessly avoid unnecessary work. They have an intuitive understanding that their energy, not their time, is their most valuable and non-renewable resource. This single shift in mindset is the key that unlocks everything else. It's about reframing laziness, not as a character flaw to be ashamed of, but as a powerful efficiency driver. It's internal compass that constantly pushes you to find the path of least resistance to your most ambitious goals. Adopting this perspective will fundamentally change the way you look at your life, your work, and your potential. Let's paint a picture. Consider two people, both intelligent, both driven, with the exact same goal: building a successful online business. Person A, the traditional hard worker, commits to an 80-hour work week. They do everything themselves. They answer every email, design every graphic, post on social media 10 times a day, and personally handle every customer service inquiry. They are a whirlwind of activity. Person B, our strategic, lazy genius, also wants to build a successful business, but they approach it differently. They spend their initial energy identifying the few critical, high-impact activities and then focus exclusively on those. They automate their social media posting, create templates for common emails, and hire a virtual assistant for a few hours a week to handle customer service. They eliminate everything else. Fast forward 6 months. Person A is a ghost. They're exhausted, on the verge of complete burnout, and their business has barely grown because they're trapped in the weeds, unable to see the bigger picture. They've been working twice as hard, but their motion has been mistaken for progress. Person B, meanwhile, has built a sustainable, scalable system. Their business is growing, they feel energized, and they're already thinking about their next venture. It was never about the amount of effort. It was always about leverage. By embracing your inner strategic laziness, you will accomplish more meaningful work than you ever thought possible, all while experiencing a fraction of the stress and burnout. You'll finally stop confusing activity with accomplishment and start designing a life that works for you, not the other way around. We've all been there. Staying late at the office, fueled by coffee and a sense of duty, only to drive home and realize we accomplished nothing truly important. We wear our exhaustion like a badge of honor, mistaking being busy for being productive. Our modern work culture tragically celebrates the person who stays the latest, not the one who delivers the most value in the shortest time. This culture is a trap and ensnares millions of ambitious people in a cycle of inefficient work patterns. Think back to the last time you had a frantic, chaotic day, bouncing from task to task, only to get to the end of it and be unable to name a single significant thing you actually finished. It's a hollow feeling. It's funny, isn't it? We'll spend 3 hours researching productivity hacks on the internet instead of just doing the one piece of work that matters. But sometimes that procrastination is a signal. Deep down, we know the work we're avoiding isn't actually worth doing in the first place. And that is the ambitious but lazy person's superpower, the ability to sniff out what is truly worth your energy. So let's break down how to harness this power. First, you need a new life philosophy, the 80-20th rule. What if I told you that a full 80% of your efforts, your stress, and your time are currently producing only 20% of your results? That means that the vast majority of what you're doing right now The things that are making you feel so busy and overwhelmed are a spectacular waste of your precious life. The Pareto principle, as it's formally known, states that for many events, roughly 80% of the effects come from 20% of the causes. When you apply this to your life, it's a revelation. 80% of your happiness comes from 20% of your relationships. 80% of your business revenue comes from 20% of your clients. And 80% of your meaningful results come from just 20% of your actions. This isn't some self-help theory. It's a universal law of nature, observable everywhere from economics to agriculture.by. Identifying your high-impact 20%. You can effectively quadruple your output while simultaneously eliminating the soul-crushing, low-value activities that drain your will to live. The ambitious but lazy person doesn't try to do everything a little bit better. They ruthlessly, unapologetically eliminate everything except the vital few activities that drive extraordinary results. Take a hard look at your last month of work. Which 20% of your activities produce the most tangible value? For a salesperson, it's almost certainly not organizing their CRM. It's making calls and following up with qualified leads. For a content creator, it's not endlessly tweaking the design of their website. It's producing and publishing high-quality content. Once you identify that 20%, your mission is clear. Double down on these activities. Then begin the liberating process of systematically eliminating, automating, or delegating the rest. When you apply the 80-20 rule with consistency, you'll experience a profound shift in your reality. You'll achieve more with less effort and wonder how you ever wasted so much time on trivialities. Your entire definition of productivity will be transformed forever. We often feel a sense of accomplishment after clearing our email inbox or attending a day of back-to-back meetings. But these activities rarely move the needle on what truly matters in our work and our lives. Society celebrates the completion of tasks, not the impact of results, leading most people to optimize for the wrong metrics. Think about your most productive day ever. I will bet you it was a day where you focused deeply on just one or two high-impact activities, not a day you checked off 20 small, insignificant tasks. That's the 80-20 rule in action. I once spent an entire weekend meticulously organizing my digital files, convinced it would make me more productive. I created a beautiful, complex system of folders and tags. A year later, I realized I had never looked at 90% of them again. It's like cleaning your house right before the robot vacuum is scheduled to run. Sometimes our efforts to be productive are just a clever form of busy work. Our laziness is trying to tell us something important, if only we would listen. Next, we must master the art of decision minimization to preserve our mental energy. Every single decision you make, no matter how small, drains your cognitive resources. What to wear, what to eat for breakfast, which email to answer first, it all adds up. What if you could eliminate 90% of these trivial decisions from your life and save that precious mental energy for the things that actually matter? This is the concept of decision fatigue, and it silently sabotages your ambition every single day. Scientific research shows that our willpower and our capacity for making high-quality decisions function like a muscle. They become depleted with overuse throughout the day. This is why so many productivity hacks and systems eventually fail. They don't account for our limited mental bandwidth. The ambitious but lazy person understands this intuitively. They don't try to have more willpower. They create systems that require less of it. They build decision frameworks, templates, and defaults that eliminate thousands of minor choices. By deciding once for recurring situations, you preserve your mental energy for truly important decisions and deep creative work. Create a default weekly schedule with predetermined time blocks for your most important work. Establish personal policies that automate your choices. Like, I don't take meetings before 11 a.m. Or, I always work on my most creative project first thing in the morning. Simplify recurring personal decisions, like what you eat for meals and what you wear. Steve Jobs and Mark Zuckerberg are famous for their uniform-like wardrobes. They weren't making a fashion statement. They were eliminating a useless decision from their day. Each decision you eliminate is a unit of mental energy preserved for. high leverage thinking. These are not minor tweaks. They are profound strategic changes. By minimizing decisions, you will maintain peak mental performance throughout the day. You'll break the vicious cycle of starting your day strong and focused, only to end it feeling weak and scattered. You will consistently direct your best thinking to your most important work. By late afternoon, most of us struggle to decide what to have for dinner, let alone make a critical strategic decision about our career or business. We celebrate people who appear to have superhuman willpower, when in reality, they have simply designed better systems that make willpower irrelevant. Remember that feeling of being completely mentally drained after a day of back-to-back decisions? Even if you didn't do any physically demanding work, that is decision fatigue in action. I have exactly 5 nearly identical black t-shirts and 2 pairs of jeans that I wear for work days. My friends think it's a bit weird, but I think it's weird to waste valuable brain power every single morning deciding which piece of fabric to put on your body when you could be thinking about literally anything else. The ambitious but lazy know that creativity and mental energy should be reserved for what matters, not for figuring out if navy blue goes with khaki. This leads us directly to the power of environment design, which is about making good choices. Effortless. Here's a hard truth. Your environment will always beat your willpower. So stop trying to be more disciplined and start designing a world where the right choices are the easy choices. Willpower is the most overrated virtue in our modern culture. Your environment, your physical space, your digital desktop, and your social circle shapes your behaviors far more powerfully than your intentions ever will. Understanding this is incredibly liberating. The ambitious but lazy person doesn't fight a constant, draining battle against their natural tendencies. They intelligently design their environment to make good behaviors inevitable and bad behaviors difficult or impossible. They reduce the friction for important tasks and increase the friction for distractions. This creates a world that gently but firmly pulls them toward their goals. You want to focus better? Don't just put your phone on silent. Put it in another room. The friction of having to get up and walk to another room is often enough to break the impulse. You need to exercise more? Don't just set an alarm. Sleep in your workout clothes and put your running shoes right by the door. Each tiny adjustment and friction makes the good choice the path of least resistance. These small strategic changes to your environment compound over time, leading to massive shifts in your behavior. With strategic environment design, you'll stop battling yourself. You'll stop feeling like a failure when your willpower inevitably falters. You will create sustainable systems that make continuous progress almost automatic, regardless of your daily motivation levels. We've all set ambitious goals, only to find our own environment working against us. From the phone that constantly buzzes with notifications, interrupting our focus, to the kitchen stocked with temptations when we're trying to eat healthier, our culture glorifies the idea of powering through difficult circumstances rather than intelligently redesigning those. Circumstances support our goals. Think about how much easier it is to avoid eating junk food when it simply isn't in your house, versus when it's sitting on the counter, calling your name. That is environment design at work. I once tried to break my social media habit through sheer willpower. 2 hours into my noble effort, I found myself mindlessly scrolling through Instagram while literally holding a book about how to stop using social media. That was the moment I realized that willpower is just a really expensive way to fail, with a few extra steps of self-loathing got now. Let's talk about the ultimate form of leverage, strategic automation. The goal is to set it up once and benefit forever. What if you could do a piece of work one time and then have it automatically repeat itself, delivering value for you forever? That's not lazy, that's genius. And it's exactly what's strategic. Automation makes possible. This is the ultimate tool for the ambitious but lazy because it allows you to multiply your effectiveness exponentially. This is how you scale yourself. The real power of automation comes from applying it not just to simple tasks, but to decisions, communications, and even creative processes. When it's implemented properly, automation compounds over time, continuously delivering value while you focus your energy on new, higher level opportunities. Start by identifying the recurring tasks in your work and life. Create templates for common emails and documents you send. Use scheduling tools to automate your social media posts and communications. Set up automatic bill payments and financial transfers to manage your money without thinking about it. Build detailed checklists and standard operating procedures, SOPs, for any process that you repeat. Each system you automate frees up precious mental bandwidth for higher value activities. The initial investment of time and effort to set up an automation pays dividends forever. By embracing this mindset, you'll finally break free from the time for money trap that keeps most people stuck. You'll create systems that work for you 24/7, allowing you to achieve more while physically doing less. This is the secret of how the ambitious but lazy consistently outperform the merely hardworking. Most of us waste countless hours of our lives repeating the same tasks, slightly differently each time, when setting up a system just once could eliminate that work forever. Our education system teaches us to manually execute tasks over and over again, rather than teaching the meta skill of building systems that execute those tasks for us. Remember that feeling of pure magic when you finally set up a system that handled a recurring, annoying task without your involvement? That mixture of relief, pride, and power is addictive. I once spent 3 hours automating a reporting task. That would have taken me only 5 minutes to do manually. My friend pointed out that this wasn't a very efficient use of my time. I then mentioned that this task happens every single week. After a year, I will have saved almost 4 hours. Sometimes we take automation a little too far, but you get the point. This brings us to a crucial distinction. Building systems versus setting goals. Goals are for amateurs. Systems are for professionals. If you want to achieve something once, set a goal. If you want to achieve something forever, build a system. Goals have a fundamental, fatal flaw. They exist in the future and provide absolutely no guidance for what you should be doing in the present moment. Systems, however, operate in the present. They are the vehicle that continuously moves you forward. This distinction will change how you view success itself. The ambitious but lazy person focuses on developing robust systems that make success the inevitable byproduct. They don't chase goals which create a constant state of pressure and a feeling of failure until the goal is reached. When your system is working, the results take care of themselves. Don't set a goal to write a book. Instead, create a system where you write 500 words every single day, no matter what. Don't aim to get in shape. Instead, design a system that gets you to the gym 3 times a week without fail. The key is to remove decision-making from the equation and focus entirely on the process, not the outcome. Systems succeed where willpower and motivation inevitably fail. By shifting your focus from future goals to present systems, you'll experience the joy of continuous progress rather than the pain of repeated failure. You'll eliminate the emotional roller coaster. Goal setting and develop sustainable, repeatable processes that deliver results regardless of your mood or circumstances. Most New Year's resolutions fail by February because they are goals without systems. They are destinations without a map or a vehicle to get you there. Our achievement-obsessed culture celebrates the moment someone reaches a goal, but it rarely acknowledges the unglamorous, daily, boring system that made that achievement possible. Think about something you've consistently succeeded at in your life. I bet it's not because you set a powerful goal once, but because you unconsciously built a reliable system around that activity. That is the power of systems thinking. Setting a goal without building a system is like telling your friend you'll meet them for dinner on the other side of the country tonight. Sure, I'd love to have dinner in New York. I'm currently in California with no car and no plane ticket. But don't worry, I've set a really ambitious goal to be there. It's absurd. Let's talk about dosage. We need to find the minimum effective dose for maximum results. The assumption that more effort produces proportionally more results is one of the most pervasive lies of modern work culture. The real question should be, what is the least amount of work I can do to achieve the greatest possible outcome? The minimum effective dose, or me, is the smallest input needed to produce the desired result. Anything beyond the meaty is wasted. Effort, time, and energy. This is the definition of true productivity. The ambitious but lazy person isn't looking for ways to do more. They are relentlessly determined to find the exact leverage point where a minimal input creates a maximal output. This approach surgically eliminates unnecessary work while maintaining, or even improving, the quality of the results. In fitness, research has shown that a 20-minute session of high-intensity interval training, HIIT, can deliver superior cardiovascular benefits compared to an hour of steady-state cardio. In learning, the simple act of trying to teach a concept to someone else after studying it just once produces far better long-term retention than reviewing the material 5 times. In business, focusing exclusively on your highest value clients often produces better financial returns and less stress than trying to please everyone. Your job is to find the minimum effective dose in every area of your life. By applying this principle, you will eliminate countless hours of low-value, diminishing return work. You'll finally stop confusing effort with results and start achieving more by doing less. This is the very essence of working smarter, not harder. We so often assume that more is better, spending extra hours polishing a project that is already good enough, long past the point of diminishing returns. Society equates the quantity of effort with virtue, when often the truly skilled individual knows exactly when to stop and where to focus their energy. Think about a time you overworked a project, a presentation, or a paper, only to realize that the final 10 hours of work made almost no difference to the final result. That was the MED principle trying to teach you a lesson. I used to spend hours crafting the perfect email, agonizing over every word. Then I realized that the senior executives I was sending them to were often replying with K, thanks, from their phones while walking to the bathroom. Sometimes we forget that we are optimizing for things that nobody else even notices, let alone cares about. Of course, you can't do everything yourself. That's why you must learn to leverage others through delegation, but without the soul crushing. Micromanagement. Let's imagine your time is worth $1,000 an hour when you're working on your highest leverage tasks. But you're currently spending half your day on $15 an hour tasks. We need to fix that, and we fix it by mastering the art of leveraging other people's time and skills. True leverage comes from the profound understanding that your time is varying, values depending on the task you are performing. This realization will transform how you operate. The ambitious but lazy person recognizes the moment when someone else can do a task 80% as well as them, but at 20% of the cost in their own time or money. That is a trade you should make every single time. Effective delegation isn't about just passing off work you don't want to do. It's about strategic resource allocation that multiplies your personal impact while drastically reducing your personal workload. Start by tracking your activities for a week. Assign a value to each hour based on the impact it produced. Identify the low-value, repetitive tasks that could be delegated to a virtual assistant, a freelancer, or a junior colleague. Learn to write crystal clear instructions and standard operating procedures once, so they can be followed many times by others. And most importantly, when you delegate, focus on the desired outcome, not the specific process. Give people the autonomy to solve problems their own way. The initial investment in training and setting up delegation systems pays exponential returns. By mastering delegation, you will shatter your personal productivity ceiling. You'll leverage the skills, time, and diverse perspectives of others to accomplish far more than you ever could alone, all while you remain focused only on the things that you, and only you, can do best. Most of us waste hours on tasks someone else could do better, faster, or cheaper, simply because we haven't developed the skill or the systems to delegate effectively. Our individualistic culture often views asking for help as a sign of weakness, when in reality, The most accomplished people in the world are almost always the most effective delegators. Remember how freeing it felt the very first time you successfully delegated a task you'd been dreading and it came back completed without your constant involvement? That is the magic of leverage. Trying to do everything yourself is like being a one-person band. Sure, you can play all the instruments at once, but you'll sound like a chaotic street performer. You could be conducting an orchestra instead. Sometimes. We need to stop trying to play all the instruments and start learning how to conduct. Now, let's build your overnight empire by creating assets that work while you sleep. The single biggest difference between the wealthy and everyone else isn't how hard they work. It's that their money, their systems, and their assets work for them while they are sleeping. True, life-changing leverage comes from creating assets that generate value without your active, moment-to-moment involvement. This is how you finally, permanently, break the time for money trap. The ambitious but lazy person focuses their creative energy on building intellectual, digital, and automated assets that work around the clock. 24/7. Unlike trading your time for a paycheck, these assets can scale infinitely, potentially generating value for years or even decades with minimal ongoing effort. Start by identifying your unique knowledge, skills, or interests that could be transformed into an asset. This could be creating a digital product like an ebook or an online course. It could be building automated systems for local businesses. It could be developing a YouTube channel or a blog that generates passive ad revenue. It could be creating templates, software, or frameworks that other people can use. The effort is almost always front-loaded. You do the hard work once, but the rewards are back-loaded and can last a lifetime. By building assets that work while you sleep, you will break free from the limited earning potential of a traditional job. You'll create multiple streams of income that require minimal maintenance while delivering maximum value to others and providing financial returns to you. Most people work for decades at jobs, trading their irreplaceable time for money, never once stopping to build an asset that could eventually replace their income. Our education system rarely teaches asset creation. Instead, it prepares most people to be excellent employees, not builders of automated value systems. Imagine checking your phone in the morning and discovering that you made money while you were sleeping from systems you set up weeks, months, or even years ago. That isn't just a pipe dream. It's an entirely possible reality in the digital age. My friend once asked me, isn't creating all that passive income actually a lot of work? I told him, yes, it's a lot of work once. Having a job is a lot of work every single day for 40 years. The expression on his face was priceless. Finally, let's put it all together and talk about the strategic efficiency lifestyle. What if your entire life, not just your work, was designed for maximum results with minimum effort? Let's explore what that lifestyle actually looks like. Strategic efficiency isn't just a productivity hack. It's a comprehensive life philosophy. This mindset can and will transform everything you do. The ambitious but lazy person designs their entire existence around the principles of leverage, value, and automation. From their relationships to their health to their personal growth, every aspect of life becomes an opportunity to apply strategic thinking. Systems design and the 80-20 rule. Apply the minimum effective dose to your exercise. Routine. Use decision minimization for your finances with automated investing and saving plans. Implement strategic automation in your home with smart devices and systems that maintain order with minimal effort. Practice environment design in your relationships by intentionally surrounding yourself with people who elevate your thinking, challenge you, and energize you. When every aspect of your life begins to operate on these core principles, extraordinary results become not just possible, but inevitable. By embracing the strategic efficiency lifestyle, you'll experience a profound shift in how you approach everything. You'll achieve more meaningful goals while experiencing less stress, less overwhelm, and enjoying far more freedom. This isn't just about getting more done. It's about designing a better way to live. Many high achievers appear successful from the outside, but are secretly exhausted, overwhelmed, and constantly wondering if the relentless struggle is even worth it. Our culture often associates success with visible busyness and a narrative of struggle, when true mastery often looks more like effortless effectiveness. Imagine looking back on your life and realizing that you accomplished more than most people while enjoying the journey far, far more. That is the ultimate promise of strategic efficiency. People often ask me, if you're so efficient, what do you do with all your free time? I usually just smile and say, whatever I want. That's the whole point. Though, honestly, half the time I probably use that freedom to find something else in my life to optimize. It's a sickness, really. Remember, being ambitious but lazy isn't a contradiction. It's a superpower if you know how to harness it correctly. The world is full of busy people accomplishing very little and burned out achievers who can't enjoy the fruits of their labor. But you now have the blueprint for something better, something smarter. I could keep talking, but that would be inefficient. You see? Strategic laziness at work.now, it's your turn. Write in the comments section which one of these principles you're going to implement first. Or even better, share your own ambitious but lazy hack that has saved you time and energy. The real magic happens when this community of strategic minimalists starts sharing their systems. Together, we can all accomplish more by doing less